You can spend a day being the easiest person in the room and still go home hating yourself for it. You answer the text right away. You say yes before you even check your schedule. You listen to someone talk for 40 minutes about their crisis, then apologize when you finally need to leave. People call you sweet, reliable, easy to be around. But what they rarely see is the second life that starts when the room goes quiet. The replaying, the resentment, the strange, heavy emptiness that shows up after being endlessly available to everyone except yourself. Most people still frame this as kindness. I do not think that is accurate. In a lot of cases, this is not kindness at all. It is fear dressed up in good manners. There is a trauma response called fawning. Most people know fight, flight, and freeze. Fawn is the one that gets romanticized because it looks socially acceptable. Instead of yelling, you adapt. Instead of leaving, you appease. Instead of saying what you really feel, you study the other person, become exactly what keeps them comfortable, and hope the performance buys you safety. It is a brilliant strategy when you are young and stuck in an environment where honesty feels dangerous. The problem is that the body does not automatically retire a strategy just because your circumstances changed. That is how people-pleasing becomes a personality. You start calling it being thoughtful, being respectful, being low maintenance. But if you look closely, there is often a hidden transaction inside it. You do so much for other people because some part of you still believes that love must be earned in advance. Attention must be secured. Belonging must be paid for. If you keep everyone happy, maybe they will not leave. Maybe they will choose you. Maybe they will finally love you back with the same intensity you have been pouring into them. And that is where it turns dangerous. Because when care becomes a strategy for being chosen, you stop asking one essential question: is anything coming back? A lot of chronic people-pleasers live inside that imbalance for years. They become the therapist friend, the backup plan, the emotional first responder, the dependable one at work, the accommodating partner in relationships. From the outside, they look impressive. From the inside, they are often carrying a kind of hidden depression that is hard to detect because they are still functioning. They still show up. They still smile. They still get things done. But underneath that competence is a private, brutal message. If I stop giving, nobody will keep me. There is another word that helps explain this pattern: echoism. It describes people who are terrified of seeming selfish, demanding, difficult, or too much. So they minimize their needs until they almost disappear. They become an echo of what other people want. They learn to survive by staying non-disruptive. They would rather resent a situation than risk being seen as unreasonable. That fear is why guilt feels so intense when they finally try to say no. But let us slow that down for a second. Guilt is not always telling the truth. Sometimes guilt is just the nervous system protesting because an old pattern is being interrupted. There is a difference between doing something morally wrong and disappointing someone who was benefiting from your lack of boundaries. If your boss tells you to complete a task that is clearly part of your job, saying yes is not people-pleasing. That is responsibility. But when a friend asks for another favor, another ride, another long emotional download, and you genuinely do not have the capacity, declining is not cruelty. It is reality. Not every request deserves your nervous system. Not every disappointed reaction means you did something bad. A lot of us were never taught that. We were taught that good people are endlessly available, that love is proven through self-erasure, that being chosen requires overgiving. But in adult relationships, especially romantic ones, extreme accommodation often does not create love. It creates access. It teaches other people that your flexibility has no edge, your time has no cost, and your boundaries can always be negotiated down. That is why overloving can become self-betrayal. If you care about someone, you do not need to hand them 100% of yourself. You need enough openness to love and enough self-possession to remain a real person inside the relationship. 50% tenderness, 50% self-respect. Not as a math formula, but as a reminder. Intimacy should not require disappearance. Imagine you are dating someone you genuinely care about. They like constant access. They want immediate replies, daily reassurance, spontaneous schedule changes, emotional availability on demand. In the past, you would have called that love and pushed yourself to meet every need. You would have replied while exhausted, canceled your own plans, ignored your own irritation, then broke down later. This time, you do something smaller and healthier. You say, "I care about you, but I can't be on my phone all night. I'll text you when I'm free tomorrow." That is a boundary. Then you watch what happens. If the person respects it, the relationship has room to grow. If they punish you, guilt-trip you, or go cold because you were not instantly available, you just learned something important. The bond was feeding on your compliance. That is why small boundaries matter. They reveal the truth faster than big speeches. And small is the key. Most people-pleasers fail because they try to go from total compliance to dramatic confrontation. That can feel impossible. Start with delays. Start with pauses. Stop answering immediately. Replace the automatic yes with, "Let me think about it." That one sentence is powerful because it creates time between the request and the reflex. Time is where your real self has a chance to enter the room. Then practice tolerating what happens next. Someone may be disappointed. Someone may like you less when you stop making life frictionless for them. That hurts. It can even feel like danger at first. But that discomfort is not proof you are failing. It may be proof that your real personality is finally taking up space after years of being negotiated away. And yes, there is grief in that process. Because once you stop being an echo, you discover how many relationships were built around your compliance. Some people were never attached to you. They were attached to your usefulness. That realization can feel humiliating. It can also be freeing. You do not heal people-pleasing by becoming cold. You heal it by becoming honest. Honest about your limits. Honest about your resentment. Honest about the fact that one-sided giving is not love, and being endlessly needed is not the same as being cherished. So start small. Delay the reply. Say you will check your schedule. Let someone be mildly unhappy with you. Notice that the sky does not fall. Notice that your body survives the moment. Notice that the guilt rises, peaks, and passes. And if you have been giving without receiving for a long time, let this be the sentence that stays with you. Stopping is sometimes more loving than continuing. Because there are situations where going forward is not loyalty, it is self-abandonment. You are allowed to care deeply and still keep yourself. You are allowed to love someone without handing over the entire blueprint of your peace. You are allowed to ask, quietly and directly, whether this relationship contains any real reciprocity at all. If it does not, that is not a sign to love harder. That is your sign to stop echoing and listen for your own voice.